at Country 102, the Louie, Herron Toyota weekend kickoff. And we're talking about leasing a little bit this morning. And so there, you got 4 ways when the lease comes to an end. You got 4 ways to end that. And and except for walking away, you should be able to make it work without any big problems, no matter your mileage.
Exactly. And this topic really can be spoken about for quite some time. I'm trying to do my best just to kind of dumb it down to where it's very simple and concise, and still not doing probably a great job at it. One of the questions you asked during the break, I think it should be noted, I mentioned and said, listen, no matter how many miles you drive on the car, you have 4 options in a lease. It works similar to a buy, and you should have no problems. Well, you said, well, what if I'm getting a car for my brother, I'm turning my leases up, I'm not getting into any other car, you're telling me that I don't have anything to worry about. And that would not be true. You would have something to worry about. You'd have the finalization of the turn-in process. And if there's no car that the dealer is going to trade you into, they're not. One of the things you asked me was, so I would write you the check and my mileage, and my answer was no, because the money's not coming to us. It's going straight to Bank of America or whoever you lease the vehicle through. Now, I wanted to cover something that I think is very important. A lot of people wonder why leasing is so advantageous and why there's penalties if you turn it in. Again, if you trade it, buy it, or sell it, there is no penalties from the leasing company. You'll never get a bill. If you buy it, sell it, or trade it, because if you buy it, you get it. If you sell it, the person gets it. If you trade it, the dealer gets it. The bank doesn't get it in any 3 of those scenarios, only if you turn it in. One of the things you have to realize is a lot of these residuals now, like Toyotas, we have like 65, 67% residual. So what does that mean? That means for you, that means the buyer who's leasing this car, your payments are based on the difference between 67% and 100%. So your payments are on 33% of that car. So if you got a $30,000 car, your payments are based on $9,000. With the money factor that's in the interest rate level of 4%, 3.5%, that is a cheap pay. You could buy a $33,000 car for $199, $169 a month with just your first payment and security deposit. That is very inexpensive. Now, here's the flip side. I told you in many shows in the past that when you trade in a car, 3-year-old car is worth half its value. All right. So, and that's a rule of thumb. That's not going to in stone. That's a rule of thumb. So if we know that a $20,000 car is worth $10,000 in 3 years, 50% residual value. Think about what the bank's doing when they give you a 3-year lease, set the residual at 65 or 67%. They're bumping up, assuming that car is going to bring more value, which, by the way, Toyotas and some of these Highline cars, they're the only ones that have it that high. If you're buying some domestic, the residual will be in the 50% range. Again, so think about the liability they put on. So when they get this car back at the end of the lease, they take it to the auction. A 3-year-old Toyota is going to bring 55, 50%, 53, 59% of its value. The bank hopes it brings 65, 67. And I'm not saying it can't. But in all likelihood, when somebody goes to the auction, people are trying to steal the car.
Right.
So they can mark it up and sell it for more money.
Sure.
So, again, I just want everybody to realize that when you turn the car in and the mileage fee and this fee and that fee, they don't want the car back. They're not a dealership, but they have a remarketing department. Bank of America, SunTrust, Toyota, Ally Finance, they have a remarketing department, every one of these lenders, and they're responsible to dispose of these vehicles like car people. That's not their forte. So that's why the process is what it is, and that's why it's easier that if you buy it, sell it, or trade it, you don't have to worry about it.
Louie, Herron Toyota weekend kickoff. We'll be back with one final break, talk a little bit about the dealership in just a moment. You are listening to Country 102 WKZR Milledgeville. Forecast for today, mostly cloudy. Could have some showers in the afternoon. And looks like maybe a little bit warmer as we get into Saturday afternoon, but today's high in the low 60s. Right now, we're at 47 degrees at Country 102 WKZR.
This is the Huckabee Report for Friday. I'm Mike Huckabee. Now we know...